Hi there, Angela here at So Bright Alpine Quilting, and we're back this afternoon to talk about the quick curve ruler from So Kind of Wonderful. This ruler is great for cutting out a curve, and the curve is actually in the ruler, so we use our rotary cutter and we get the same curve every time. Now the size and the shape of the curve will also depend on the shape of the fabric that we're cutting out. So what I'm going to show you today is we've started working on this quilt here called Posh Blossom. So this one has some nice big pieces, and it's a variation of the Drunkard's Path block. So this is the block that we'll be doing, and I'll just show you how we go about cutting them out. So the instructions from So Kind of Wonderful are really great because you'll see that they have full colour photos and step-by-step instructions, including where to place the ruler and how to cut, how to use your rotary cutter, and lots of different assembly things there as well. So to get started, we've got a piece of fabric down here, and we're going to cut out the larger part of our shape. And we're going to do that by placing the ruler down onto the fabric, and I've already pre-marked where we're going to cut, and we place our rotary cutter in the channel and make a cut, and that's how we get our melon shape, like that. Then we just turn it around, place the ruler down again, and then we can get two melons out of the one piece of fabric. Now you may notice that I'm using the True Cut rotary cutter. That's because it is a lot easier to use this one than your normally I would be using the Alpha rotary cutter. But to cut in the curve without hitting the blade on the curve, you actually have to put your wrist up like this in this shape to get around the curve, and of course that's going to cause strain on your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder. So to alleviate that, we use the True Cut cutter because we can keep our wrist flat as we cut through the curve, so a lot more ergonomic. And it also, you can switch it from left-handed to right-handed. So at the moment you see the blade is on this side because I am left-handed. You just undo it, flip it around and screw it back on to do it for right-handed. So the other part of the shape that we're going to cut out is the little side piece from the triangle. So we've got a couple of triangles here. We're just going to trim our block down slightly. We're going to take half an inch off of there, off the top, and half an inch off the bottom. And then we're going to place our curve on the ruler, matching in the notches that we just cut, and making a cut, cutting out that other side. So then that can get combined with another one to make our Drunkard's Path shape. And it's really easy to sew, and I will show you how we do that. We take our two pieces.
Hello, Eileen.
Hello, Eileen. And we're going to offset them about a half an inch. We're going to hang on to them, come around to the sewing machine, and we just sew a couple of stitches to anchor the piece in. Make sure our needle is down, and we're going to hold the left hand side piece up in our left hand, and we're going to gently push around the bottom piece with our right hand as they come underneath the needle. So the objective is to get the two fabrics together as it gets under the needle. So we don't worry about that it's out here like this, because as the machine is pulling it through, it will all come together. And so we've got we're going to use a 1/4 inch seam or thereabouts. If it gets a little bit wide, it's not too bad because we have actually cut these pieces slightly larger than we need to, and we're going to trim them down afterwards. So we're just holding it nice and gently, not stretching, and we're going to sew. If we feel that we're running away and we're not quite getting the right seam allowance, we can stop, reposition the fabric and start again. And then we just get the last little bit in. Off we go. So I would be making sure I cut out all of my pieces, and I would chain piece them all together, and then I would go over to the iron and give them a press with the steam iron, and then we can trim them. So we'll just go back to the table and we'll trim one that we've pressed earlier. So this is one I pieced a little earlier. So you can also use your quick curve ruler to trim up your blocks as well, which is very handy. In this case, we're going to make this into a 6.5 inch square, and we do that by placing the two ones on the outside corner and looking for 6.5 here and 6.5 here, and we're just going to offset it by 1/8, which is this first line on the ruler, and then we can trim those two sides. Turn the ruler around, turn the board around, look for our 6.5 and our 6.5, matching up those lines on those ones we've just cut. And making those last two cuts. And so then we get a nice 6.5 inch square. So for the centre of our block here, we're also going to have to add in a little white half square triangle on the side here. So we'll cut a square and we'll sew across and flip it up, and then we'll trim that underneath, and we'll be able to join our 4 centres together. So nice and easy. Like this. And we just keep going, making our units, and then we can join them all together, and you've got yourself a great quilt. So we do have lots of the kind of wonderful patterns in stock. There's a selection of them here. We've got Mod Citrus, which is one that I've just finished, but I haven't quilted it yet. Posh Petals, which was one that was designed for release when they visited Australia. So Helen and Jenny came to visit Australia a couple of years ago, and this was one that they released then. What else do we have in here? We also have the Pineapple Quilt. This one we made up a couple of years ago, and that's going to my sister Kate for her birthday. There's also the Metro Medallion. And the other thing that they like to do is to have a sampler quilt for each of the rulers. So this is called Curve It Up, and this is the sampler quilt for the large ruler. So it features lots, I'll turn around this way so you can see easier, lots of different blocks. So all of these are more traditional blocks that you can make with a curve. So it makes them slightly more modern. So you've got spools and Dresden plates, churn dashes, fence and rail. That's a Drunkard's Path variation, some flying geese, a 9 patch with an Ohio star around it, more fans, log cabin, and put together in a couple of different ways here with some scallopy borders or some citrus peel borders. Make a great quilt, and by the time you've made all of those blocks, you'll be an expert in using the ruler. They also have a smaller version of the ruler called the Quick Curve Mini, and so it cuts the same curve, but it's just a smaller version, and so you use smaller pieces. So this one is ideal for cutting out with 5-inch squares. So it has a guideline on the ruler, and it makes it really quick and easy to cut 5-inch squares. Steve, there's a couple of blocks hanging over there. The ones on the end, the bright ones there, that's it. Thank you. These are some clamshell blocks that we've made with the Quick Curve Mini. So you can see this is our Drunkard's Path shape here, and so we've just reversed the colours and it makes a great clamshell. So we're going to sew these together in a pattern like this, or you can mix it up and have lots of different colours. These are some more of the little blocks here. So it's a great way to work with solids as well if you want to use some solids up, and I highly recommend starting with that. So that is the little half square triangle block is a free pattern with the ruler. So each one has a little free pattern. So that's the half square triangle one. We also got some other patterns here from them: Moon Dance, Posh Buddy, Mod Strawberries, Mod Cactus. This one is very cute, the Whale Tail. Did we do Buddy, the dog? We also have some larger wall hangings featuring a flamingo. And there's 2 sampler quilts for this ruler. The first one is Urbanology. And this is a great little book. You can set out the blocks in 3 different ways to make a really nice quilt. And the other sampler quilt is the Sedona quilt. So I've made that one. You might have seen that before in the shop in the table runner version, using the black and white, or you can use a scrappy or coordinated scrappy one of that one. So those are the ones that we have in stock at the moment. If you see any other of the patterns, we can also order them in. And we can set you up with those. So when we have classes normally, these are typically classes that we would have in store. Otherwise, we can do them as like a Zoom class on request. Otherwise, jump in, have a go, see what you think. We've got lots of specials on our website for the Great Australian Craft Show, and you can see them at sobright.com.au, and you can also jump in through the Craft Alive website. Tomorrow morning we will be back at 11 AM and we're going to show you some more of our Kris Kringle gifts and some other specials that we've got happening. Maybe we'll do some more last one lefts, and then tomorrow afternoon we'll have another demo in the studio. Thanks for watching. See you then. Bye bye.